So the typical thing to do once you've got some collectibles in a game is to have them increase your score and then display that score on the screen. And you've already done some pretty similar stuff in 2D. To add text to our screen, we're going to create a canvas layer, and inside the canvas layer we're going to have a label. Click plus, and I'm going to find label. And the first thing you'll notice about adding a label is it's actually taken us through to the 2D view, because everything else in our scene might indeed be 3D, but our canvas layer is in 2D. It's just anything that gets displayed onto the screen, including this label that I'm going to rename to score label, just to make it easier to find, because we might add more text later. Now I want to put some starting text into my score label and see what that looks like in my game. So you can see there in the top corner it says score of 0. We're not changing it yet, but it's displaying where I'd expect it to display. I can kind of tell how big it's going to be because just like when we did do 2D games, this box is the size of my screen. So maybe I'll drag it so it's not in the very, very corner. It's kind of there somewhere. And I can mess with the font settings a little bit by adding a label settings object. So click this drop down, create a new label settings, choose font, and if you want to change the actual font you need to go find a font file from somewhere like Google Fonts. I won't be bothered to do that in this lesson, but I might make the font a bit bigger. Instead of 16 pixels, let's make it double that, 32. Change it to some nice kind of gold colour. There we go, it's a nice looking score label. And I'll play my game to see what it looks like. That looks nice. And shortly I'll be increasing that score every time I pick up a coin. So that'll be done in my scripts, script tab. And the score is going to go in the player script. Add a new variable called score. It's going to start off with a value of 0 at the start of my game. Everything else is going to go in the coin script because the coin script is the one that knows when we've collected a coin. So here I've just checked that my player has run into the coin. I have deleted the coin and I can get that score value on my body and add 1 to it. So I've just checked the body is my player, so I know my player has a score variable on it. I've just created one, and so I'll be able to add 1 to that score. The other thing I want to do is update the label so it sees the new value for that score. So I'm going to get a reference to that label in my coin script, same as I've done before by dragging that into this top section, making sure I'm holding down Control before I release the score label so that I get that reference to the score label. One thing you might notice about this reference is it starts with these 2 dots. That means go up a level from where the coin is so that you can find the canvas layer. And I don't really like having those 2 dots in my script, because if I decide to move the coin to somewhere else in my project, then the location of the score label is going to change. So I'm going to get rid of those 2 dots and start my path with root, which means the very, very top level of my project, followed by my main scene, then my canvas layer, then my score label. That will guarantee that I'll always be able to find the score label by going to the root of the scene, then the main object, then the canvas layer, then the score label. It doesn't matter where my coins are. I can move the coins, and even if the relative path to the canvas and the score label changes, I'll still be able to find it because it's still in the same spot. Now I can update the text. Right, score label dot text, and I'm going to set it to score plus body.score turned into a string with the str function, because body.score is an integer unless I turn it into string with str. So that's this entire thing done. I can hit play, and every time I collect a coin it will add to the score and it will update the score text. That's everything in this video done, but just as an aside, you might be wondering, why do I add the score in the player script instead of adding the score in the coin script, for example? That's our other script. I could have created a score variable here. Don't do this, by the way. If you're copying from this video, this is an example of what not to do. If I create the score in this script and update the score in this script, what that means is that every copy, every coin that I've got, has got its own score variable that starts at 0. And just before I delete the coin, I'm going to add 1 to that coin's variable. That means every time I collect a coin, score's just going to be 1. Collect a second coin, score's still 1. Score's still 1. Score is still 1. So we need that variable somewhere outside of our coin, so that we've just got one copy of the variable that's getting updated every time. And in our case, the place that I've decided to put it is on the player, which is a reasonably sensible place, because we'll only ever have one player, and that player is going to have one score. In fact, maybe you could even have a multiplayer game, and then each player could have its own score. So player script is a great place to put the score variable, and everything else can go in our coin script. That's that video done. We've got a working score.